What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about why I'm getting Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed and why you should too. This is my preview series where I take a look at an upcoming game and talk about whether I'm getting it, kind of on the fence about it, or not getting it at all. And Ghostbusters is an interesting one. I'll be honest, I leaned for a long period of time with this game on, maybe I'll get it, maybe I'll wait for a sale, maybe I'll wait for less crowded time, but ultimately, I really feel like this game could be something special, and I'll explain why in this video. As I tend to do with these, though, I like to look at the price, and I like to look at the time the game releases in to kind of talk about my mental state and why I'm getting it or why I'm not. Now, this game is part of the kickoff, in my opinion, of this fall period. October starts relatively quiet, in my opinion. October 18th is when things get very, very busy with A Plague Tale Requiem, as well as Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed. Then you go to October 20th with Mario Rabbids, the second Mario Rabbids game. You go to the 21st with the new Tales from the Borderlands, Scorn, and Gotham Knights, and you just keep going. So, Ghostbusters is a game, out of the ones I listed, I will be honest, on the lower end. I'm not nearly looking forward to Ghostbusters, let's say, as much as Plague Tale, which is also free on Game Pass, right? It's just on Game Pass, so that makes it better. And then Gotham Knights. Gotham Knights is a big one specifically for me, but maybe people are into like more horror/weird, and that's Scorn, right? So it isn't a crowded period. At the same time, the price helps because this game is $40. It's not a full price game. Also, it's a multiplayer game, and it's a game that you would expect to play with other people, and you expect that would help the game out. I think that's going to give this game a leg up, and that really is, I mean, besides it being the Ghostbusters name, right, the Ghostbusters IP, that really needs to be the thing that has this game stand out, because when it comes to, like, story-driven games, Plague Tale, cooperative, superhero things, Gotham Knights, you really have something for everybody at the end of October, and Ghostbusters is one of them as well. Now, as for the game itself, I honestly think this game looks really, really good. It looks really fun. I had just watched the IGN preview of this game, and there was a couple other previews that were done, and the game looks like very simplistic, but in a good way. I was a big fan of Predator Hunting Grounds. I talked about Predator Hunting Grounds more than almost anybody on YouTube leading into the release, and I think overall, they stuck the landing. I do think that game died very, very quickly. The servers were a gigantic problem with that game. Balancing had its issues here and there, but I would say the biggest thing was just people wanted to play as the Predator, and that took away from people playing as, the survivors, / it also just hurt the servers overall and having to wait for the game. Ghostbusters, and this is a thing we talk about with these kind of games, right? These 4v1, and there's a lot of them nowadays, is you have to make both sides equally fun. Now, what I can tell, or at least from what I can tell, it does look fun. It looks fun to play as the ghost, in which you're going around haunting people, haunting objects, attacking the actual, Ghostbusters themselves. Like, it looks pretty darn fun to be a ghost. It also looks pretty chaotic. It looks like it's going to get tense, specifically towards the end of the match. And then on the flip side, as the humans, right, it also looks like a ton of fun. There's a detective work kind of thing, right, where you have to kind of find 3 artifacts in the world, destroy them, because that's how the ghost can respawn. Also battling the ghost, also calming down civilians. It seems like a lot of fun. It seems like both sides are going to have an equal amount of things to do. And one interesting thing that is, I would imagine slightly different about this is, you think of Predator Hunting Ground, right? Yes, there's objectives, and like the fire team, right, is trying to get through all the objectives and get to the end. Technically, the fire team is not really, it's not needed to go after the Predator. You can, but really the goal is just complete the missions and get to the end of the match. This, honestly, is the reverse to it. The Predator, in this case, or the Ghost, really doesn't have too much of a reason to mess with the Ghostbusters. They're meant to haunt things in terms of objects, in terms of civilians, and really hide from the Ghostbusters. So I like that flip, right? Ghostbusters are specifically hunting you, and even though you're the ghost and you're kind of like you're the one, right? In Predator Hunting Grounds or Friday the 13th, you're the Jason, right? You're the one big bad, you're the villain, but you're the one being hunted, which is very different, right, than the other games that we've played. So I really like it. I mean, this game, it stood out to me from when they announced it. I like, it seems like the combat and the controls and what the weapons are going to be. It looks chaotic in the way that it's described, that like the guns to try to capture the ghost, it's very wild. Like, it's not bad aiming when you see it in videos and they're just kind of shooting all over the place. It's not necessarily bad aiming. That's how the game makes it go, because it's supposed to be hard to aim. I like that. I mean, I think this game has a lot of potential. A lot of these, and that's the thing, a lot of these games have potential. What tends to happen with these games, right, including even Friday the 13th, I get excited. They do have something special. They hook me for a little, and then they fail to hook me for the long term. Friday the 13th did hold me for a pretty long time, like a couple months. Predator hung on to me for like 1 month. We'll see if Ghostbusters can. Dead by Daylight has hung on to me on and off for years, so that would be like the most successful version of this. That's what I'm hoping for. And ultimately, that is the most important thing about a game like this, right? You're spending the $40, you're getting it, even if you're getting other games during this period, how long will you go back to play this game? That's the true test of any multiplayer game. If I play Ghostbusters for 1 week and I get bored, right? The grind isn't there, the leveling or whatever, and after 1 week I'm not going back in, I would say the game failed. And it's hard to review games like that too, right? Because you really have to say, all right, a month in, does this game still hold our attention? And that's something you have to wait for. But I'm going to give it a chance. I've given Alphonic loads of chances. I've given these games loads of chances, or these kind of games, I should say. So this one will be no different. And the Ghostbusters IP is one that I do care about, and I do think was a pretty cool choice. I think like a single player, like an action adventure game, which, they've done before, right? I think that would have been something really cool, not for Alphonic to do, but I feel like I would want that from the Ghostbusters IP, not necessarily a multiplayer game, but in the way that they're doing it, I don't have a lot of problems with it. It looks really, really solid. We'll have to see like the map variety and the differences between maps. We'll have to see that stuff, but the game's looking pretty darn solid. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Are you getting it? Are you going to wait for maybe a even lower sale? I mean, it's $40, so maybe you wait for it to be $20. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on. If you want to follow me on Twitter, my second channel, all my links are in the description below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.